meeting. I'll introduce him to you.
All right, perfect. Hey, Karina.
Hello. How's it
I
going?
haven't seen you since this morning.
I know, it's been forever. So, I was running around with the BLK today, the BLK to go, trying to figure that out.
It's not hard to figure out. I mean, there's little tricks.
Other than like my app crashing constantly, then I realized after that I had the wrong app. So then I like went back and like tried to use the different app, and then
Were you
I
trying to use
couldn't
the
figure it out.
360 app instead of the To-Go app?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
No, the To-Go
but I
app
have
is
data.
basic, but it never really crashes.
Yeah.
Or I
Well,
didn't use it.
yeah, so I gave it a try. The other one I tried to connect to, and I couldn't figure out how to like, I don't know. By then I finished the scans. It better be on there. So it seems like they were on there already. So it was like, okay, well, I'll just download everything and I'll check it. So that's what I'm gonna do tonight, is check it.
Yeah. Well, I did notice too, 3DR now has a tool where you can break up the BLK to go walk by time, and you can actually take things out like moving objects and stuff like that.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So
I'll check it out. It wasn't super busy today around the campus, but yeah, I'm like, well, I'll give it a try. And I was like all excited because it was all working, and I'm like, this looks really good. And then I got in about like 4 minutes, and then the app crashed, and I was like, oh, so went back to the start and kept trying to play with it, and they'd get it going and it gets started and it crashed, and I'm like, no. So I just take a look at it.
Ben?
What am I drinking?
No, Ben.
Oh,
it looks like you guys both might be drinking. You're drinking a Michelob, looks like.
yeah, I'm drinking like water beer.
You just showed me the back of the can, Ben. I don't know what that is.
Mm.
Oh, okay,
Claws.
White Claw.
Sure.
Nice. Eric! We're getting a lot of people this time.
Hey, what's going on?
Not much.
Different.
Oh, Karina, I had a conversation with Sean Galway today.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, they're always fun.
Yeah.
But he, and I'll share this with the group, what we had talked about in the education committee, he turned me on to. Verscan 3D. Hold on.
Where did I hear
Show.
that?
What's that?
Where did I hear that before? I think I'm.
I don't know where you probably have heard it before, but I'm going to share it right now. If you're ever training someone, let's see. The only problem is you don't download it directly. It's always sitting in your downloads folder. But this is what you were talking about, right, Karina? Let's see. Right, that's my mouse reading. Okay. I'll just open project. No, I already have. That's it's like a video game for laser scanning.
Oh, cool.
And you can change it to like targets. And you can put targets on, take them off. You can put scanning locations. You can interact and change the but I just think this is so cool. You can pick different scanners, but then you can actually start the scanner and export the scan, bring it into a registration software, and register the program or register the scans.
Oh, cool. Wow. Huh.
So, I mean, you can have your students go, and there's like, I'm gonna exit. You can have your students all do this and register their scans as training, right? You don't have to have 1,000 scanners.
Yeah.
And they have like 4 different locations. I'm gonna probably use it for some of my videos as fun, easy way to shadows.
Is it free?
The demo is, I haven't found a way to pay for it, but you can download the demo, no problem. And it has all the.
Cool. I'll give it a try.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
thought that was pretty cool. It's game control, so you have to use what? WAD, WASD,
Yes.
and your mouse. Yeah.
Okay,
So
question,
what's up?
question for Mac and Eric. What are you guys using for the RTC as a tablet? I know it's Apple, but are you using 8 gigs or 16 gigs? RAM?
I'm using my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I mean the big thing, like if you're transferring data to you know, to the device, of course it's always helpful to have more storage, of course, but also, you know, RAM helps, but it's yeah, like
I
Max
only
says, you
use,
can use your phone.
I only use the app for like very, very complex buildings. Other than that, I use the app to name the project, and then it goes on my phone or my pocket, and I just scan.
Okay.
I I don't know how much using the app really helps. I haven't really noticed that much of a difference. I think once you're familiar with RTC and you know how to scan with it, like that pre-registration stuff is pointless. The Viz does most of that for you, I think. Eric, you
Yeah,
look like
because Leo, I think you're asking about like the RAM, right?
Yeah.
Whether having more helps or not. I mean, yeah, I to my recollection, I don't remember a ton of stuff that, you know, really uses that heavily on the app side. Um, I know it was definitely an issue years ago, and that's why people would specify Pro was the only iPad that would work, because that guaranteed a certain level of RAM. But yeah, nowadays I can't think of anything offhand that's going to make a huge difference on, but you know, more is
it
always
does on
better.
the so if you're using the Gen 2 and the BLK app, for some reason that transfers a lot more data over to your device. Because it stores it in both places, right? And that just eats up your device. It says you can store them on one or the other or both, but you can, when they say you can do that, you can store it on the iPad only or both, or you do both and then delete it off your iPad. You can't stop it from downloading onto your iPad, if I'm recalling it correctly. That bothered me, but I could be wrong.
No, because Matterport takes up a lot of RAM for processing, right? Because I'm getting one this week, the M4, 16 gig, 1 terabyte iPad Pro, and I'm gonna test it before. Well, I have a friend that owns a shop, and he's gonna let me test it out before I buy it.
Yeah, I mean, definitely Matterport's doing a ton of processing. I similarly, I guess if you're using like the iPad's LiDAR for fill-in, more RAM might be better. If you're using that, you know, that feature and stuff like that. But yeah, for more of like, you know, max use case of just scanning, it's probably not as important. But yeah.
Thanks, guys. And then hopefully I'll get a hold of Eric, Mac, Eric, and Karina after my meeting on Friday. There's York University students came up with, I don't know too much about it until Friday, but it's going to revolutionize how we see data, cloud, point clouds now. And I'll record the meeting and everything. It's not going to be cloud storage or anything. You're going to type in for your customers, you can type in a web browser and it'll go right to the job. And you don't have to store the point cloud. I don't know how
It's
they're
still
doing
store it somewhere, right?
it somewhere, but I'm gonna find out. It's supposed to be the new and greatest thing.
I'd wonder about privacy of the data, if it can just be, anyone can just type it in and go to it.
No, it's locked. It's subscription. It's going to be subscription.
Does York still have a program for geomatics?
Your students worked on the project.
Mm.
It
So-
might not be geomatics. It might be robotics or machine learning or software development. You know.
Right.
Well, I'll be in touch with that once because there's enough money out there in the scanning industry. It's just to provide better service to our clients.
I was just doing some business proposal stuff today. I think it's at 45 billion this year and estimated to go up to 75 billion next year. Yeah.
For
So,
LiDAR.
but just reality capture as an industry, not LiDAR itself. But so, yeah, there's money to go around for sure. There's a lot of eyes on it. What I'm saying, like everybody's kind of like, I mean, everybody has a vested interest in it. I mean, I just did a magazine article on robots and NASA, and you guys probably saw the 600i. The article's not out yet, but there's been other ones where they there was a NASA robotics competition, Lunabotics, and a bunch of students built robots and had to move dirt around in an environment, and then they used the 600i to scan the dirt that they moved to get volume calculations. But like now, all those students are exposed to laser scanning as far as like mapping goes, and they're thinking about it. There's a lot of people concentrating on our industry. You look tired, Eric. How's the job search going?
Exhausting. In kind of a bad mood about that. Like, so just my little mini soapbox. If anybody is hiring people and you have to reject somebody, give them some feedback. Give them more than just we've chosen someone more aligned with our business interests. Like it's just infuriating. We're all adults. We're all wearing our big boy pants. Like, you know, somebody doesn't match up, just tell them why. Give them some idea. It's just frustrating, you know. It's like you think something goes well, and then you get someone more aligned with our business interests. What are those? What was, you know? So yeah, a little salty because there was one I was really kind of excited about that I just heard back from. So sorry.
No, I hear you. I mean, at least you hear it back. I always hate when I apply for a job and I don't get any response, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, even from customers, you know, like, here's your quote. It's like, are we proceeding with this? Or yes, you're too high, you're too low. Just rush, nothing.
Yeah. Like, and that's communication, feedback, you know, just like a relationship, whatever. Like, you know, just treat people like people, you know?
Yeah, we're hurting in Toronto really, really bad. My cousin's been in the electrical union and he hasn't worked in a year and a half.
Yeah, I'm getting uncomfortably close to a year, but you know, it is what it is.
And the sad part is not like it's just a terrible year to be unemployed, right? Because it's an election year, and no one grows an election year.
Everybody wants to wait and see, and you know,
like it matters. Like it matters. You know what I mean? Like,
sorry, Mac, go ahead.
I just like, especially like in the first year of a presidency, nothing changes. I don't know why people wait. You know what I mean? And frankly, and you Canadians can ignore this because it doesn't affect you, but like our all three of our systems are so inefficient that like we're pretty much at the mercy of the market. Like no, they don't get anything done. Nothing's been done in 10 years. So like we're just following the market and blaming people for ups and downs. It's fucking stupid. Sorry, that was my soapbox. I'll get off of it.
So And I've been gone for a while, but how many have people, what's the maximum people that you've had on Zoom? Or what's the most person?
In here?
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe 12, 13. It's never been like a super crowded area, but it's definitely been a fun group. That's for sure. We've had some lively conversations. Gabe's busy today, so he's not going to make it. This is, I think, the first one he's missed. Doug brought a friend yesterday, or last one we did. How's it going, Doug?
Oh, pretty good. Sorry, I'm just you caught me getting ready for an event tonight, so just trying to scramble out the door because parking downtown San Diego is awful. But yeah, Kyle is the guy that came last week, and he's a good guy. He's mainly a drone guy. So, dabbles in LiDAR, primarily as supplemental to his utility business, but I'm still thinking with him, if we can hook him up with LiDAR people and software people, I'm still trying to figure out that way to get a better front end to back end workflow. I feel like this whole industry would benefit so much from a transparent scoping process, that kind of explains the various levels of detail and, different methods, to acquire information and process it, because people just don't understand. I mean, even sophisticated people, even architects, are just kind of like, look, I need an as-built drawing, man. I don't care how you get there, but understanding all the nuance, that goes into it is just so critical. And it's so complicated, right? Somebody needs to be the storyteller of this industry, right? And I feel like that's an opportunity that's still looming out there, right?
Oh, you clean up pretty well, Doug.
Yeah.
What's that?
So you're going to an event?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I gotta try sometimes. Not in the field today, so I got no excuse. But anyway, yeah, I feel like
I
it's
love
so.
the eyeliner.
What's that?
Someone says I love the eyeliner, I believe.
Eyeliner. Wow. I'm afraid I don't have the little lash curling brush either, but one of these days. I got enough toys in the garage. I don't have room in the bathroom.
I had a Rhodesian Ridgeback that was just drop dead gorgeous. Everybody loved this dog. And like our friends who had the same type of dog were convinced that we put eyeliner on her, to the point that like when she came over for play dates, they like secretly checked to make sure, that we didn't put eyeliner on our dog. But so take it as a compliment.
I appreciate it.
I'll be traveling down through your neck of the woods here pretty soon, Eric.
Yeah, you're going down to Santa Cruz.
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually, both of you next to the woods. Now that I think about it, I'll be traveling through Portland.
And pretty quick. I don't know if you've got access to it down there.
I think the West Coast is full of great places to scan. I don't really. That's one of the things I've never understood about Europeans. Like they have some of the best places that you could walk through with a mobile scanner or a SLAM scanner in the world, I think, and they just don't do it. Especially like don't get me wrong, but it's sleek. It looks like a camera. You can take pictures in these places. What's stopping you from walking through with it and taking a scan of it?
Honestly, Mac, I have been thinking maybe one of the best ways to demonstrate the capabilities of that scanner, is to walk through, Montage or, Four Seasons, or like a really, high security place, and then create a Revit model of it, and it doesn't have to be super detailed, but just taking like a 10-minute walk, through the Montage Laguna Beach, and then creating a model from it, that could be turned into, I don't know. Do you know actually, is there an easy way to take an environment that you scan into Revit and turn it into a video game? Like can you drop it into an engine and like turn it into something playable?
Yes.
You'd have to drop it in Unreal Engine.
But if you did, so like, I have Unreal Engine. I just don't know how to use it, to turn, so I could put an environment in it, right? And then even in Revit Online, I can navigate around it, and that's how I did those animations. But I don't know, like, is there a way to put that into? Is there a way to gamify it? To put characters, into it, to drop items into it, to
So
to animate
the
it.
items, I mean, when you start adding, there are programs that have aspects of each of what you said. So like Preview 3D, you can drop people into it and walk in it. Oh God, what's the one that everybody, Nubagon. Yeah, Nubagon has gotten really good with adding animations to your point clouds. You can open close doors, fans can be going. You can add different elements to it.
What's that? How do you spell it?
Nubagon, Nubigon.
Nub.
Igon. I've been paying attention to them since they first came out, but with my background in construction, they never quite had the tools I needed. Like they didn't really have analysis tools. They had a few basic measurement tools, but their visualization tools are killer. They really are. When they first came out, they have they sort of mesh your project and then decimate it when you move around. It's a incredible process that they have worked out. At least that's what they say. I bought into the marketing. I didn't verify it myself.
God, I find out about a new one of these services every day. It's
no, Nubagon's been out for a few years.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
6, 7.
I mean, would you say who would you say is like, best in class in terms of point cloud visualization, or maybe top 3?
Visualization
I like
alone.
Fuser.
Go ahead.
I said I like Fuser. I like it because you can work in Revit, Rhino, all those different things. Bring it all together into one environment. It's really easy to use. And then anything, if you've got it, like say you had a pole and you just wanted to move it 6 inches, you can just move it in Fuser and it syncs backwards back into Revit or back into Rhino. So it's bi-directional. So it makes life simple.
Yeah.
That's Fuser, Fuzer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fuser.me. Okay. Cool. Have any of you guys worked with Beneco?
Never even heard of it.
Yeah.
No.
No?
Ditto,
Okay.
never heard of it.
They will take your LiDAR point clouds, they want it to be like the Matterport, of LiDAR, and so they would take your LiDAR point clouds, and then they had algorithms that would backfill, around interpolated areas. So like a pole, if you couldn't see the back of it, if you only scanned like 2/3 of it or something, it could, recognize it was looking at a cylindrical object, and actually, fill in the back face, and so so the visuals on it, even with data that was, less complete than I'd like, looked to be really good. But it's been probably 9 or 10 months, since I looked at it. But they had some pretty cool tech.
Yeah, I mean, it's all evolving really quickly.
So
I'm
new
assuming
become
with AI, that's what everybody's regurgitating, but I mean, it makes sense, right? I think that's really going to help registration, honestly, too. Like if something can recognize an object and its shape, we really start to move into object registration rather than point registration, right? Surface registration.
I mean, you
And I
could do
think
that back in Cyclone in the day.
to a certain degree, yeah, absolutely. But I'm talking about automatic recognition and registration. Like I've been playing with point cap, and I appreciate the fact that point cap can take raw ZNF data, it can take raw Faro data. Supposedly they'll take raw RTC data pretty soon. Like they're trying to be the super agnostic raw data like registration software. I'm done. You know, that's obviously not the higher end of things, but like you know what I'm saying, like we're pretty spoiled by cloud to cloud and Viz and stuff like that. So I think they're on a good track, but they have a long ways to go. And of course, as soon as they get there, everybody will update their SDKs and they'll have to start over from scratch. But
Yeah, PointCab, was really for the longest time, it's all about the deliverables, and that's what we would hear all the time was, yeah, somebody wants to do all the registration in Registry 60 or something, but then they want to go into PointCab to do this, and this. Floor plans were a big one that they were doing that people liked and stuff like that. So yeah, they've been around a while and they have some fans for sure.
well, I mean, we've gotten so used to just like seeing point cloud from a point cloud person perspective, but it's really cool to see a software built for someone from their perspective. Like when you open up point cab, it gives you a northern face, an easting face, and a cut, all in the perspective of a CAD file, basically, right? And then creating a floor plan from that is super easy because you just take a cut and you hit vectorize, and it actually makes line work on everything. It's very close to scan to plan in 3DR, except it works. And this is probably the first and only time you'll ever hear me say something in 3DR isn't just the best. But yeah, no, they blow scan to plan out of the water, but it's sort of, but like I did it on the vertical, but
Oh, I was just gonna say I really liked the the visualization components of Pix4D. I guess that's really more of a photogrammetry, drone, kind of an app. So I don't know if you played with that at all. But when I first built my website, I had a lot of data that I had put together using Cyclone, but I just exported the point clouds into Pix4D because I had access to the cloud features there. And so it was the only place I could really host a point cloud without paying more, per month. And it wasn't perfect. The point sizes weren't great. I actually think, Reality Cloud Studio did some things better, as much as my first go with Reality Cloud Studio was a hit and a miss, or a swing and a miss. I did think that, that was my only other real online point cloud hosting experience. And, I would say I liked the functionality of Pix4D better, but I think some of the visual, like it was more beautiful to work in Reality Cloud Studio. I just haven't tried any of those. What's that?
It's got a hell of a high horsepower engine behind it, right?
Yeah.
And they've been pushing it on everybody. If you buy a Leica scanner right now, you get 3 terabytes. I don't know if it's still going on. You get 3 terabytes of storage or HHDR.
Are you kidding? Wow.
Nope, I got 3 terabytes. Karina should have 3 terabytes.
Man, I must have just missed that promotion. Cause
I think it's RTC. If you buy an RTC,
got it. Okay. Well, yeah, that might be a bridge too far just to buy an RTC, but,
yeah. But
you know,
they're definitely pushing to getting people. But it's only a year of that 3 terabytes, right? So they're
Yeah.
hoping you'll fall in love with it. You know.
right.
But it's like I told them when they talked to me about it. You know, how can we get you to be more on board with it? And I said, we'll make it better. You know, be more on board with it.
Yeah.
But that'll get
Well,
fat.
yeah, I responded to a couple of their, Paul Burrows, made a couple of notes on LinkedIn, and he said they were he said they were addressing some of the issues that I had previously, not all. So I don't know. I don't know which ones, are a priority for them to get to, but I think they've got a lot to work through in terms of.
I talked to a guy named Guy Cutting, who's the product manager. You probably know Guy Cutting, Eric.
Oh yeah.
He's one of my favorite people, but he's also one of the hardest people to get to talk to because I equate him to kind of a hermit a little bit. Like he's like after he's done presenting a Hexagon Live, he's like speed walking out of the center.
That's why when I first started, I was doing like tons and tons of travel because guys like, I'd rather go home to my family. Screw this.
Yeah. But I mean, he was the product manager for Register Core, and now he's the product manager for Register 360. I mean, the dude knows the ins and outs of everything. The little divergent story just lost my track of thought there. They really want to give everybody what they want, but there's 1,000 or 100,000 of us asking them for something, and when they push it, there is a chance that like they build this thing in, but it takes away something else that they've already built in, or interferes with something they're already doing, and they really have to weigh it out. So our frustrations are sometimes we're asking for something that just can't happen, But doesn't mean we don't. For the price they charge, they better make miracles, really. Yeah. Richie, last name Richie. I mean, it was a guy. By the way, any relation?
Different spelling.
Oh, okay.
Now my uncle Lionel, that's
there you go.
You see the resemblance.
My youngest had all of their friends convinced that we were related to Albert Einstein. Which, I mean, makes sense considering all those idiots believed it. But so what are you doing next weekend, Richie? Derek?
I don't. A couple of the guys were talking about maybe playing golf or something, but I haven't committed to that. But yeah, probably nothing.
Lido, stop me if I'm incorrect for sending this invitation, but there's going to be a bunch of us. What?
Come join us if Santa Cruz is not too far for you.
Yeah. We'll be in Santa Cruz doing a bunch of scanning, and there'll be Faro, ZNF, Leica, a bunch of people, 13 different companies. If you want to come down and hang out,
Yeah, might be up for that.
One of the day. Yeah. It'd be cool to see you.
Yeah, if you email me some details or something, yeah, it could be fun.
Let me drop you some info.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to that point, we have a reception Friday night. Are you interested in that? It's from 4 to 7. We're gonna be in Santa Cruz. Quite a drive for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that. I've done that early morning drive too to get down to Monterey to go diving. 4 a.m. wake up, but yeah, Santa Cruz. Yeah, I could probably do something like that. That's day trippable.
Yeah, I'll drop you some Well, Mac, do you want to send Eric some info, or I don't have your email, I think, Eric.
You can just use my name, Eric.Ritchie, Gmail. So same as it was at Leica, just Gmail.
It pays to be the only one in the US with that, huh?
I'm not actually.
Oh, really?
Which I learned when somebody had gone around passing some bad checks years ago, and the police showed up. As at the time in Pennsylvania, I was the only Eric Ritchie, but there was another one in Virginia and another one somewhere else. But yeah.
Yeah, I have Matt Kowalski Gmail, Matt Kowalski MSN, Matt Kowalski Yahoo.
Yeah.
There's not another Matt Kowalski, weirdly enough.
Yeah. Well, and then you got to register the domains and stuff, just to have them.
Oh, I should have done that actually. So, but this goes for all of you, but especially you, Eric. And this is going to be a shameless plug. Lidaholics is about to turn into something pretty cool. We're in talks with several of the major manufacturers, which is, as you know, Eric, unique, right? There's not very many people that sell more than one of the major manufacturers. But also like Laser Scanning Europe, their products, RS Systems. We're trying to build the largest online marketplace, and we're looking out for good people, and everybody in here is good people, except for that fat note taker. What?
Everybody eats together. There's enough money out there. Let's just capitalize on it, right? And then I'm starting my modeling team in the Philippines.
There you go. Nice.
Eric, if you go, I'll fly down for the weekend.
Yeah, I might be down for that. Sure.
Yeah, it's like $500 or 35 or something.
There you go. Fly to Seattle. We'll all drive down.
What's that other guy's name? Can we take the Tesla?
Oh, David?
David, yeah.
We can invite him.
Yeah, because my colleague has Faro. They swear by Faro. And what's the other one? They just bought they have version 2 and they just came out with version 3. The one that you wear, the big one.
Ferrero or
Navis. Navis.
Yeah, they just bought
Navis.
version 3. They swear by it, and I seen it. Yeah, it's great for like big spaces. It scans like no tomorrow, but you're tied into every software. That's where they get you, right? Manufacturer software.
Yeah. Well, Navis is you're tied to like the busy, like all these other manufacturers out there. You buy in, and it doesn't matter how busy you are. That's the price, right? Navis, the more money you make, the more money they make.
Yeah, it is.
And that's a scenario. I don't like someone being in my pockets. You know what I mean?
Those guys flew me off the other weekend. They were coming to town and asked if I wanted to get a demo. I said sure, and never heard back. I had never seen their hardware in action, so I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll check it out. Let me know the details. And silence, nothing. I'm like, okay, you guys reached out to me. Come on.
Yeah, they there's a bunch of that out there, and there's a bunch. I've kind of been hanging out with a guy who's rather unknown. I'm not going to mention him right now, but he was like, "Don't ever pay for products." He's like, "I will show you the way," and like he has like a supercomputer and several products that he has just never paid a dime for.
Is it who I'm thinking it is?
Probably.
Yeah. You took him on an aquarium tour recently?
Yeah.
Gabe? Yeah. Oh yeah, he's a master at that. Absolute master. Like he is my Obi-Wan. Like for years I've told him, teach me everything.
I know. Yeah. We had a really good day out with him, but I've been trying to reconnect with him. But I also understand like he's the kind of guy everybody's trying to reconnect with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like Leo sent you information.
Cool. Thanks, Leo.
You know,
Yeah.
Well,
How does it? How does he do it? I mean, what's the secret sauce? I want a supercomputer.
Well, the secret sauce is really to be on public television for a little while, I guess.
Yeah. Product placement, like his one show, there was always a Faro case prominently in the scene. Never saw the scanner ever, never saw the data, but there was always a Faro case in the background. Yeah, there's some tricks for sure.
And I think, a lot of the things that he does for free. Like, he just did a rather large project.
Yeah.
And like, he didn't make any money off of it, but like, it's sort of like what I keep on telling people in the committee. Like, no, we're gonna offer all this stuff, the reports and everything, for free, because we're gonna monetize it somehow. Yeah, that's notoriety. I mean, the biggest example I can say of that is like, so speaking of David, he was talking to, did I ever tell the story about the customer that the videos? Please stop me if I told the story already. But so he met a customer on Facebook groups. Apparently that's the thing. And he was like, "Oh yeah, well, just so you know, I'm an actual dealer. I can send you some information." And the guy stopped him in his tracks and was like, "Oh no, you're good. I've seen you in Max videos." Like, so like we shot those LiDAR videos just for fun, but like, you're able to monetize on that reputation later on, right? So I have a strong belief in that all.
We should.
What's that?
Well, for the next Lido Lounge, we should get mugs. Like, everybody should have a mug, that,
Yeah.
Have you seen Logan Lyle and like the dad jokes, commercial?
Oh,
Every time they say something, you got to complete it with a sip,
There you go.
We need shameless promotion.
My family did comment on the fact that like this shows up in there quite a bit. Well, that is a good call though. We could ask for sponsors and just have like, Faro on the mug, like sort of like Ricky Bobby with his Triscuits across the windshield. It sure is dangerous, but I love them Triscuits.
Shake and bake.
Shake and bake. What else has anybody been up to? Big projects? Anything going on? Karina's on summer.
Oh, not really. No, I spent 12 hours out in the field yesterday in 32 degrees Celsius weather, which is hot for here. We're not used to that. But yeah, we were doing in like the urban canyon side of campus, trying to do the circuit for Can Slam. So I was doing that, and then of course my PhD, which keeps adding more and more stuff to my plate. But yeah, so yeah, and I got to go back, and we're going to continue doing the survey tomorrow because we're only on day 2 out of probably 5. So
yeah. Is it just one? So like the one of the things we learned from GeoWeek, and I failed you for not bringing this up in any of the Can Slam meetings we've had. We found out in GeoWeek that like when we did a single survey and then the scanning companies came back and said, "Oh, the survey's off," we had no backup to say, "No, the survey was good." So say this event that's coming up this weekend, we have 2 surveyors surveying it and 2 contractors verifying before the event starts.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Now granted, it's a much
very
smaller.
expensive.
Yeah, it's much smaller than like it's a single area, right? It's not 2 kilometers like you're doing.
Yeah.
But verification process, because I'll be honest with you, we surveyed it in, and then when the first couple of guys came back and said, "Oh, it was messed up," we actually went with one of the scanners we trust and had them export the targets of their good registration. And then the rest of them, not the rest of them, but it was a mix of different scanning guys saying, oh, the first one was better or the second one was better. And at that point, we had no backup as to like what was our baseline, right? It was a very big learning curve for us. Just something to think about. And I'm sorry that I've had all these opportunities to bring that up and I haven't. So,
Well, I mean, at what point though, like when you have a cadastral land surveyor who's actually doing it in the field, who deals with property boundaries and stuff, you would think that, like, if they're going to be back and say you screwed up the survey, it would be like, well, then what are you saying about the land surveyor who's actually doing it?
do you want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Or
I want your honest opinion.
I've seen land surveyors. I mean, no one's infallible, right?
No, but like you have software, you have error propagation and like least squares. So
Yeah.
you're going to be calculating everything. You're going to go back. You're going to be able to check it with the software. You have double checks. You have the loops that you've put in. It's not just like one single direction. So when you say that, like when they come back and be like, oh, your coordinates are off, it's like, well, but here
Yeah.
is how it was done. Here was the process I was following. No measurement is perfect ever. It doesn't matter what measurement you do. Here is how it was processed. Now here you take the observations and you do it. Come
Yeah.
back and tell us what we've done wrong.
Okay.
So because like we'll have students going through it too, of course, right? Like we're just doing it as because it needs to be the control because we're the instructors that have to mark them. But yeah, I would have a big argument with that. Like, you know, if you have a cadastral surveyor, that's the person who's going to go into court and be like, yes, this is the line, right? So then they'll take those as the expert, and that's in Canadian law. So I don't know how different it is down in the US, but in Canadian law, they're considered basically lawyers.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, they are technically here too. I mean, well, not lawyers. Oh, some of them on the East Coast, they actually have to go to a 4-year college and then get experience, and then they get the license.
Here, you need to have a minimum of a 2-year diploma, and then you have to take 15 courses that are just in surveying, just to be able to qualify for an articling. Then you need to spend 2 years in the field, 18 months in the field, and a minimum of 6 months in the office. And then you also have to do a report, 3 exams, 1 oral exam, and 2 written exams, and then you can be a professional land surveyor.
Yeah, oral.
So basically, it's harder than a PhD. I would
sorry,
far rather do a PhD.
Sorry, doesn't California? I thought California required 7 years, of essentially apprenticeship, or something.
Yeah,
where
so
you could be.
they need. I'm not too sure about California. Washington requires 2 years to get your LSIT and then 4 years to get your survey under a licensed surveyor, right? Most of them end up fudging that. One of the things that I don't know is the same about up there as it is down here, but like the guy with the license sits in the office, and then guys under him are the ones in the field.
It depends on the company. Some companies actually send their surveyors out to actually do it because they're the owners of the survey company.
Yeah, they're small enough that they're like,
and they're the only people there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the really big companies don't send them out, but by law, like it just as an engineer, we're supposed to oversee all of the work done. So
Yeah.
and with them too, it's the same thing. Your license, like everything you sign, it's your liability.
Yeah.
So,
it'd be interesting to. I'm keeping an eye on that whole, obviously.
Yeah.
With the whole industry, just because, I mean, a dwindling industry with stringent regulations. It'd be interesting to see how it ends up. It can't die out. Like,
yeah,
we have too many people shooting each other's neighbors over stupid shit for it to die out. You know what I mean? One of my favorite TikToks I've been watching lately is like property owners fighting with their neighbors. I don't know why it shows up in my feed, other than the fact that apparently I like it because it keeps on showing up in my feed, as per our previous conversation. But like a surveyor will put a stake in, and the neighbor will come running out of his house and yank it out of the ground like immediately. And I'm like, holy shit! So like, they're gone as far as like blocking the neighbor's view and pouring in concrete and setting the stake just to like. But like, you're telling me that's dying out? Like, they can't. Chris Jones could replace all of us, right?
Actually, I have a
You
funny
ever-
story about my some neighbors in my neighborhood. I won't be specific just in case it ends up on. But they were the one guy wanted to pour a larger driveway, and he contacts me, and I'm like, I'm not a surveyor. I'll give you some names of some companies. You can contact them. So they contact them. They go out. They put it in and everything. And then his next door neighbor is like freaking out because it cut away the bushes because we're in an old neighborhood. Everything is block corners and everything has to be calculated in because half of our block corner monuments are missing. And so it's all calculated in. And then they're like, the next door neighbors were like, that is not your property. That's my property. You know, it's been like that forever. And it's just like, and then they contact me. Those people contact me and they're like, can you come and survey? I'm like, I don't survey. I'm like, I'm staying out of this one. Like, here's the names of companies if you want to go hire them. Just like, so it definitely still happens. Yeah. Go ahead.
We had a fascinating case in San Diego a couple years ago. This guy, so golf courses were the big redevelopment deal down here. They had all these golf courses that were dying. COVID was the unexpected thing that kind of turned that around. But in like 17, 18, nobody was playing golf. Everybody was looking for something to do with these golf courses. And I was working in private equity. We were offered these 2 golf courses. We could buy the debt on them. Together, the debt was like, I don't know, $3 million, $4 million, something like that. And we passed on it. The guy that ended up buying it was this Beverly Hills land lawyer named Michael Schlesinger, and he put them both through this crazy process where he basically threatened the city and said, I have zoning on this. I'm going to cover these in houses, whether you like it or not. And so he was. Long story short, he was successful. I can give anybody the longer version. It's very funny if you're interested later. But in the process, there were some people that objected, and he was super vindictive about it. And so he isolated all of the people that objected in the community and did boundary surveys, of their property, and almost all of them were infringing, on the golf course in some way, like over the 30, 40 years, that they had owned the property or prior owners had. They had built golf course garages, they had built walls, like all kinds of things, and just got the bulldozer and just, just went crazy. Anyway, but yeah, but there's definitely some good TikTok stuff in there. He also decided, and the ones where he couldn't get them on boundary surveys, he decided to fertilize his property, and so he took a dump truck and dumped a bunch of chicken manure, in front, right, like in piles.
Oh my God.
Right in the back, right in the back of their houses. It was,
Oh my
sick but true.
The first part of that kind of reminds me of my wife played that song for me the other day. The something PTA. Anybody ever hear that song? It's an older country song where
yeah,
they call her up to talk to her about her child's parents or whatever, and she starts calling out everybody on the PTA for sleeping with each other, for gambling and boozing and shit. That's very similar to that. That's hysterical. What was the name of that? I'm sure there's been some articles on it. Doug?
Oh, Michael Schlesinger. Michael Schlesinger was the guy's name, the landowner that bought it. The 2 properties were Escondido Country Club and Stone Ridge Country Club. And Escondido went first. Anyway, I mean, if you want to know about it, I went to all the hearings. It was fascinating, fascinating courtroom drama, but a very interesting mashup of land use rights and, survey stuff and politics. And they both ended up bringing in home builders, and the home builders were the ones that kind of rammed it through the community. And then both of them, did some interesting things after they got approved. They're still kind of re-engineering the entitlements, and, open space is turning into, gyms and, you know, all kinds of fascinating stuff.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
before we end
lots of
this,
assets.
anybody got any new technologies they're eyeing or new tools or things they're playing with? No?
I'm still trying to get a hold of the Look guy, Looq,
Yeah,
Dominique. You know, yeah, so I tried to I'm trying to set up something with him and Kyle, you know, to go check that out because you know that it's an alternative way to do utility stuff, which is exactly what Kyle, that's his bread and butter. And so if we can get a demo of that, you know, then you know I'd love to maybe get him on here or
Yeah.
you know, at least get some data.
Yeah. And we're always open to more people here for sure. We what's funny about this is this has evolved into something totally different than what it originally was supposed to be. And don't get me wrong, I love what it is now. But originally this was like supposed to be a couple of us industry guys waiting for people to call and have customer support issues, right? And now it's just like us, which I love. This is actually one of my favorite times of the month, right? Don't get me wrong, but like it's just been different. So yeah, we're always open to new experiences and new
that's
problems.
it's our new little network, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate each one of you guys for coming too. And gals. I don't want to be gender specific.
I've been to Sean
I-
before.
I have to admit that I use the word guys for girls all the time. I'm just like, it's gender neutral. The word guy is a gender neutral thing. So don't know why I've always felt that way, but I always have.
Yeah, no, it's like dudes. Like they
Yeah.
added dudes, but it doesn't make sense. Dudes.
No. Yeah.
Like I think a girl can be a dude. I'm looking at this look right now. What's this sensor he's using? Is that the sensor? Do they sell a sensor or do they sell a software?
Who was that?
Luke, LLQ,
I don't know.
Limar.
Oh, both. It's integrated. It's they sell the sensor. I think you said it's around 10K, and their secret sauce is Dominique came, you know, he's got a PhD. I think actually I don't remember what it's in. I think it's math, but he does algorithm design, you know, and so the secret sauce is in the auto alignment and classification, you know, and so that's apparently what this stuff is supposed to do really well. Normally, photogrammetry is extremely processor intensive, and you know he's done something. I don't know if it's on the pre-alignment, you know, or you know where it is, but that's the sauce. Is it takes all the data, it auto processes it, and it's supposed to do it really fast compared to other photogrammetry applications.
Well, that's a bonus because photogrammetry, like I know it's cheap to get into photogrammetry, like on drones and stuff, but like so time consuming with the processing. But it looks noisy, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, somewhere between the, you know, Elon Musk, you know, I would trust my life and everybody else's with optical processing, you know, tech, and, you know, my God, you know, that's awful. You know, everybody should be using LiDAR, you know, is the truth. I just don't know, you know, which direction. I don't know how far you could really push photogrammetry. You know, he and some other smart people seem to believe that it's got the capacity, you know, to produce at least very close to the same level of fidelity that LiDAR does. But
Yeah.
I don't know how much of that to believe and whether it's really just in the algorithms or not.
Well, and there's such a, I mean, when you say the capacity of LiDAR, there's such a broad version of that because you have like P40 on this end, and then you have like iPhone LiDAR on this end. So like the fidelity of LiDAR is a very, you know, cliche term, right? Or not cliche, but it's a broad spectrum. It's sort of like survey grade,
Sure.
right?
Well, but
Yeah.
but it's not totally dissimilar to the photogrammetry side either. I mean, you know, like the survey hawk or whatever they're flying now, you know, those are like 100 megapixel, you know, mega huge, you know, frame cameras, you know, and you know, the level of precision that you can get, you know, out of something like that, you know, compared to, you know, a standard, like, I mean, I'm shooting with a 45 megapixel camera, you know, and you know, that's pretty damn good, you know, but anyway, yeah, you're appreciate what you're saying there.
Yeah.
It is very dependent on the specific technology.
So you guys remember Jack Hatcher, who was on a couple of weeks ago with his wearable photogrammetry sensor?
Yeah.
So I'm actually pretty happy. I had a company from New Zealand reach out to me called Sensori, and they had a photogrammetry software, but they weren't really, they're sort of agnostic as far as sensor goes. They hadn't really picked one. I've connected those two, and I think it's going to be a good little marriage, right? Because he's developing the wearable sensor. They have an incredible software. I think it's going to be a good, potentially, maybe two, fortuitous for that kid. I'm keeping an eye on that kid. He's he's fresh out of college and he's already developing sensors, you know? So, yeah.
You know, Mac, I well, does anybody on this call have defense, you know, geospatial experience? Does anybody work with the defense industry?
I mean, yeah, depends on what you're looking for.
Well, I'm, you know, I know there was somebody that was doing, you know, boats and super, you know, classified stuff. I guess I'm just wondering more, you know, like, I, 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 I I think there's an interesting application of this in covert, you know, kind of stuff like planning, you know, you know, operations or
So
you know whatnot, like just getting into a place, figuring out how to, you know, how to map it, you know, covertly,
so
you know, is an
all the
entirely
teams
different
on
exercise
SOCOM,
than
all the teams on SOCOM now have a drone program,
all
right? They have dedicated guys that will fly and survey the scene before they infiltrate, which is, I mean, it's new that it's someone on the field doing it, but like when I was doing it, and granted this was longer ago than I want to admit, we had Predator drones doing it, right? So they were still drones, but they were just, you know, the size of an airplane and well above visibility. But let's see, one of my buddies I served with, he is in charge of all of the live fire ranges for one of the major bases around here. And they are getting into drone mapping for controlling their ranges and having live data for that. So yeah, there is definitely some crossover if that's what you're thinking. Sure.
yeah, I guess when I said it, I was thinking more about indoor, you know, stuff and, you know, the drone, you know, drone specific.
I mean, that's also a
and
thing
more
because like I was working with public safety and some, you know, military stuff here and there, and everybody wants that kind of Jack Bauer interior view. Like, you know, there's a situation, I want to know, pull up the schematics of that building, and you know, oh, we can go in through this air shaft, and like everybody wants the Hollywood style tactical overview. And yeah, so you know, we were working with some departments that were building some prototypes and looking at some things here and there. I mean, it's absolutely a thing. You know, I can't give specifics on who's doing what or how or whatever, but you can, you know, suffice to say, everybody's looking at everything. If it seems interesting, somebody's probably investigating it. And, you know, especially when you talk about like police and stuff, depends on how well they're funded, you know, how much they've started to implement, and you know what they've rolled out. I remember one police department in Texas was getting a lot of drug money. You know, they'd confiscate things, and then, you know, once they get that pile of money, they're allowed to use it to, you know, to upgrade their own capabilities. So they were buying every drone, every sensor. You know, they're just going for it. Let's play with this. What could we do with that? So yeah, you know, especially, yeah, police departments and stuff. It's very heavily funding based, but everybody wants this stuff for sure.
Oh, and speaking of which, because I pay attention to like the military auctions, like the surplus. If you're looking for drones, right now is a good time to be looking. Everybody's trying to offload their DJIs because they're worried about a ban, right? So the military and government surplus auctions are full of DJIs.
It's actually good to
Really?
good to note. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still need to schedule my Part 107 exam. It's been on my list, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Oh, and I need to find out if those are transferable to Canada.
Yeah, because that'd be a good market.
Yeah. Because like Canada has two levels. They have like a basic and an advanced, right, Karina?
Yeah.
Or man?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I understand anyways.
Yeah. I mean, down here it's so easy to get. Like they're like, no wonder the course I took are like, we guarantee you'll pass. And I'm like, oh really? I did it in like half the time they're allotted, and then like still had a well over passing grade. Like it's super easy. And it's super unrelated to drone shit. It's like knowing which way to approach a fucking airport on landing. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't need to know how to do that to map with a drone. That's nothing that I will ever
reading
do.
the weather charts and all the
Yeah.
radio protocols, and yeah.
As a matter of fact, since I passed that, I honestly think that I should get to go to the pilot's lounge at any airport. Yeah. All right, guys, we're 12 minutes over. I think it's time to call it. What do you think?
Yeah.
Worth it? See you in 2
Sounds
weeks?
good. I won't be able to make it in 2 weeks, but I will.
Okay.
I will be in Vienna. So
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, you
Tough.
traveling with family and other
have fun.
friends. Yeah, I will try. I will do my best.
We want pictures.
Yes, I will. I'll take pictures for sure. Okay. I'll see you
All
guys
right,
in
guys.
4 weeks, though.
See ya.
Okay. All
All
right.
right.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.